So my first impressions of coming to see the company was this incredible building where they work. A couple of the machines have a really strong beat sound that was really what stayed with me from the very first time I visited. My name is Jacqueline Donachie, and I have been working in residence with Lancashire Saw Company, which is at Imperial Mill in Blackburn. When I was invited to do the residency, it felt really familiar because I cycle along a canal every morning to get to the studio and look out onto a canal from my window.
Stephen Bentley. My job title now is Managing Director. I started off as an apprentice and it's developed from there. I've been coming to Lancashire Saw for the past 62 years. I don't know how many saw blades we manufacture, but it's quite a large number.
What I was thinking about mostly was the building and the sounds that came out of the building from the processes that happen here. And through that, one of the sounds of one of the machines had a really strong beat and it was quite musical to me. And I've made work with music before, but I spent quite a lot of time trying out the sound of the recordings I'd made with other types of music.
She was very impressed with what we did and the way we manufacture saw blades, and she incorporated this into her production, picking out the shortening, grinding of the saw.
But when she came in and you could see the ideas ticking over in her brain about what she wanted to do, and as soon as she heard the beat of the press, that kind of triggered what we ended up with, which kind of a acid house track, if you will. My name's Stephen Quinn, I'm a saw doctor. I've worked here for 23 years.
The track that really worked with the recordings that I'd made of one of the machines in particular, which is called the press, is the best match was Chicago House. It just was the same drum beat. So from that, I'd mentioned this to somebody when I was coming down to Blackburn, and they were talking about the parties that happened here in these mill buildings, which of course I'd heard of and knew about, but I had probably associated it very much with Manchester. Through looking at all that history that was very much tied to these big industrial mill buildings, it kind of seemed a really good match to, in some way, bring some of that history into the work that I did. The mill is the biggest character in this project. The mill sits near the canal. We want to bring people along the canal as part of the opening weekend. And I wanted to in some way reflect the history of other things that had also happened in this mill, because although this company have been here since 1986, I mean, they've got a huge long history of working in the building. In a lot of ways, it felt a bit like they were camping here. You know, like they've got all this incredible machinery, it's all been brought in, but it wasn't purpose-built for that, it was purpose-built as a cotton mill.
They wanted to incorporate the canal and the mill, and because it was an acid house track that Jackie eventually did to the beat of the work, they thought about getting someone to DJ.
So I really like this relationship between something that was sort of transient in a way, because the building will go on to do something else after the company, and that also these other quite really important social events happened in these industrial spaces when they were lying empty in the 80s.
Yes, we were very impressed. The end product was something completely different than what we envisaged.
I loved the film. Thought it was really, really clever in what she did. It incorporated not only the sound of the press, but also the grinding wheels and the kind of work that we do.
I made a film that's called Imperial, and it is based on my experiences of the Lancashire Saw Company and the mill in which they're based. It's got a combination of filming of some real detailed shots of the machines and the processes that happen here, some of which are very high tech and some of which use machinery that is almost as old as this mill building.
But on the night, everyone was quite taken aback with how good it was, to be honest. Definitely. I'd do it again. I'd do it again tomorrow if I could.
That I filmed some new footage, and I've also used some of the original footage from the Blackburn parties to kind of just show these social histories of the space.